So guys, it was an amazing moment with Kenneth Okonkwo and other obedience as he was hosted, by Aisha during a Zoom session. During this session, Kenneth Okonkwo talked about so many things, including why Bola Ahmed Tinubu shouldn't be sworn in as the president of Nigeria come May 29th. We all know the kind of influence Bola Ahmed Tinubu can will if he should become the president of Nigeria. I mean, over the judiciary. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu becomes the president of Nigeria, do you think we can still get justice from the judiciary? So guys, let me allow you listen to Kenneth Okonkwo speak. Honestly, it was an amazing time on Zoom. So guys, just take your time and listen. Please support me by subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you.
First of all, May 29th is simply the day that constitutionally has been set aside for the handover of power from one leader to the other, from one political party to the other, from one regime to the other, from one government to the other, peacefully. So it used to be called a democracy day until this government changed it, that it is no longer a democracy day. It is just an ordinary day for handover, when they shifted the democracy day to June 12th. So May 29th is very important in our history. But like you said, there are things that are the way they are according to the law, not the way they ought to be. The ideal thing would have been that all cases should be sorted out before swearing anybody in. Because once somebody is sworn in, the abuse of executive powers can make the person to influence the process of litigation. Because, whoever is the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So it then means that unscrupulous leaders, which Nigeria cannot be exempted from, can manipulate or forcefully try to intimidate the participants in the delivery of justice. So that's the ideal thing. Unfortunately, the framers of our constitution never anticipated that we will get to this level of electoral banditry, electoral armed robbery. So, because we were governed by military rule for a long time, where they will say, sit down, and everybody sits down, they were contemplating a disciplined society in line with that, unitary system of government. So when we entered democracy and this situation of election rigging and manipulation set in, we now discovered that almost all the elections go to tribunal. And we now discover that the executive interference in the processes in court has always been obvious. One, the disadvantages. Once somebody is sworn in, he's going to use state resources to prosecute his own case. No doubt. While the opposition will be struggling to get resources to prosecute their own. Two, he becomes the head of a branch of government. There are three arms of government. So he has the bargaining power with which he can use to flog the other ones to fall in line, because he's holding the purse. So There are other reasons. You can, for instance, dangle it in front of members of the Court of Appeal. If you play ball, we will upgrade you to the Supreme Court. A lot of things. Because, the president will have to appoint any justice to the Supreme Court, subject to approval of the National Assembly. So he has a lot of tools in his basket with which he can bargain in a corrupt society to influence the process when it comes to power. So there is genuine agitation that cases should be completed before swearing in. In Kenya, they are doing it. Some other jurisdictions, they are doing it. But sadly, in Nigeria, the current provision does not stop anybody from being sworn in pending the conclusion of the case. And the time limit to conclude the case does not stop before inauguration. And then, unfortunately, again, our elections go into tiers of and levels of power of the judiciary. So even if you finish from the Court of Appeal, you would still have to go to the Supreme Court. So when you finish 180 days, that is the number of days that is allowed to finish the case in the Court of Appeal. When you hear 180 days, it does not mean they must finish it. It means they must not exceed it. So it does not mean if they give judgment tomorrow, you say, no, they have breached the law. No, it means they cannot exceed 180 days. Now, in the governorship, it is even worse. Before now, the governors stop at the Court of Appeal. But in Nigeria, because everybody wants to be part of the cake, they now have to amend the constitution so that the governors now will be reaching Supreme Court. So the governors are the only set of executives that their case goes to 3 levels of the judiciary: the Election Tribunal, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court. So in the case of the governors now, instead of abridging time, they have enlarged time. And underneath all these things is corruption. Because people were beginning to scream that the Court of Appeal, they are more liable to be compromised than the Supreme Court. And that the governors stopping at the Court of Appeal, that a lot of judgments are questionable. If you remember the Tambuwal case, when Tambuwal was the governor, the case was supposed to end in Court of Appeal. We did not know how the Supreme Court dabbled itself into it and now issued an order arresting. That was where the word arresting the judgment of the Sokoto son in Kebbi. That was when they started doing the, gra, that made the amendment of the Constitution to make their case to be ending in the Supreme Court. So, coming to the issue of whether swearing in is subverting the will of the people, in accordance with the law, it is not, because the law does not forbid it. But in the case of, as in on moral grounds, it ought not to be. So our constitution ought to be amended, and that is going to be the next line of advocacy, so that the Supreme Court should have original jurisdiction to entertain the matter of the presidential election. And my eyes were open. The Supreme Court said they are a policy-making court. If they can dabble in and say, we have jurisdiction for ordinary Naira redesign policy, which is an exclusive privilege and right of the federal government to determine. Yet the Supreme Court say, because it affects Nigerians, we cannot keep our eyes closed. And they assumed original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction means that you will be the first court of trial. That's the original jurisdiction. That's what it means.
Okay.
So the Supreme Court entered it and issued orders. Electing the president is the most important policy in Nigeria and in any country, because the security and welfare of the whole citizens lie on the shoulder of whoever is the president, because he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And the issue of security till now is on the exclusive list. So if this is the most important policy, the Supreme Court should assume original jurisdiction so that it doesn't need to go to the Court of Appeal. It goes to Supreme Court, and they should be able to determine it before somebody is sworn in. So presently, the judiciary can subvert the will of the people if they don't deliver justice. But the mere fact that they are not doing it before the person is sworn in, you cannot say that it is illegal. So the mere swearing in of the person before the court finishes is not going to amount to subverting the will of the people. But not delivering justice, whenever you now decide to give the judgment, is what will amount to subverting the will of the people. In the presidential election of 2023, it is obvious that the will of the Nigerian people was subverted. Now, the will of the Nigerian people is simply the sovereignty which the Constitution has said belongs to the people. Section 14(2)(a) is very explicit. If you take it from the subsection 1, it says Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be a state based on the principles of democracy. People always forget the end. When they reach democracy, they thought it has finished. No. Principles of democracy and social justice. Anything done in Nigeria, any democracy done, which is not based on social justice, is not democracy. Now, social justice is the system of how a people organize themselves. Then justice is condition of being fair to all. So when you say social justice, you're talking about organizing your society in a manner that will be fair to all. So our democracy was meant to be a democracy that will be fair to all. And if you get to section 14(2)(a), it says, it is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom every government derives its powers and authority. You see? So any government that does not derive all its powers and authority from the people came in subversion of the will of the people. And the way people express or give power to any government in a democracy is by free, fair, and credible election. And that is why to date, the best definition of democracy is the one given by Abraham Lincoln, the former president, if not the best president of the United States of America. And he said, democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Of the people means that power belongs to the people. That's why one of the qualifications of anybody is that you must be a citizen of Nigeria. That is of the people. Then by the people, means that it's the people that will vote the person into power. Then for the people. The government is existing for the security and welfare of the people. And that is why section 2B, subsection 2B of section 14 says the security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. Now, if your government is not derived, or if the power of your government is not derived from the people, the government will not owe the people security and welfare because they don't need the people to come to power. That is why most governments in the world, where the democracy and the will of people is subverted, they're always lacking security, they always lacking welfare. They use the money to feed the godfathers because the source of their power is not from the people, it's from the godfathers. That is why in America, where the vote of the mechanic is as powerful as the vote of the president, whoever is the leader needs to just maintain the welfare of the people and will be sure to become president. But in Nigeria, the people can vote, all of them, and one godfather somewhere will just use a phone call and say, this is the figure you will write. So they will prefer to use all the money they would have used on the people for that godfather. So the only way we can ensure that the security and welfare of the people will start mattering to the people in authority is to ensure that they come to power by the sovereign will of the people, demonstrated only through fair, free, credible, and periodic election. And I give you an example of Ghana. Since Jerry Rawlings introduced free, fair, and credible election in Ghana, their development has started rising. Their prestige in the Committee of Nations has started rising. Look at Kenya. Gradually, as they are getting their acts together in democracy, their development, their prestige, their institutions are getting stronger. But look at Nigeria. We are going down. By May 29, this government is going to bequeath to Nigerians 77 trillion in debt. It's going to bequeath to Nigeria insecurity of people, 518 persons being killed in 6 years in Zango, Kataf alone. It's going to bequeath to you people scarcity of power, scarcity of water, scarcity of fuel. The 4 refineries, none is still working. Yes, the private refinery that was started about 4 years ago, which they are saying the largest in the world, is almost coming to start
and even
working.
NNPC have got a share in it.
Good. And the 4 refineries, just to repay for 8 years, they are not able. And they have paid more than 30-something trillion, maybe, or 20-something trillion to foreign countries in the name of subsidy for what you're producing, for what you have the refineries. And they have spent billions purporting to repair the refinery, and nothing is working. There's no government on earth that will have that record, that will win election through free and fair election. But it happened in Nigeria. And above all, they want to bequeath a leader who himself needs to be repaired, like our refineries. He will campaign in the 36 states, one day in each state. And after that, he will go abroad and spend 34 days to be repaired. He came back and made 4 public appearances and had to fly back to France to be repaired. So everything the APC government wants to bequeath to Nigeria are the things that needs to be repaired, meaning they ended up destroying. Not one thing they can single out as they have performed well. Our economy is battered, needs to be repaired. The war against corruption is battered, needs to be repaired. Our election now, as far as 2023 election is concerned, is the worst in the history of Nigeria. The most costly, yet the worst. It needs to be repaired. And then the May 29th needs to be repaired. So let me pause for a while so that I can get the contribution of people. So there is no doubt that the will of the Nigerian people has been subverted and is reflecting in every indices of development. More than 33 points, more than 63 persons in Nigeria are poor, suffering from one poverty to the other. No basic nutrition, no basic education, no basic sanitation, no basic employment. So I can go on and on. If you want me to describe, maybe along the time, then other people are asking questions, I will describe to you the procedure which INEC ought to have taken for the election, then the actual procedure they took for you to know that the will of Nigerian people was catastrophically subverted. That is why somebody in Adamawa can stand up when he does not even have the power to do it, to announce a winner and will tell you to go to court. He's borrowing a leaf from what happened in February 25th. There's no way he could have had that the temerity to do that, if not that he has seen people do it.
Thank you so much, Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo. It's almost looks as if it's sacrilege me trying to even stop you at any time, because you're just flowing. Even the questions that I have, you're answering them as you're going on. And I see a lot of people are quite eager to ask questions from you. There's something you said, which was for me, very incisive, that the most costly, this 2023 election became the most costly election and the worst of it all. And the analogy between the election that took place on February 25th, 2023, and what INEC did at the national level, and also the same thing with what Adamawa did, is so spot on, because it's the same thing that they did. The only thing was that the Adamawa one was more crude, and they, in announcement, that's what we have right now. There are quite a number of hands. Usually we take time out to speak, for you to speak, and I see a lot of people are eager. So instead of me bringing in my questions, I think I will call on Mama H.O. And before I go on to say to everybody, on this platform, we respect every opinion, and whatever opinion you want to put forward, please feel free to do it. But in no way with any insults or abuses be tolerated. I had to disable the chat, and we removed someone when he came in with those abusive words. Whether dissenting opinions are beautiful, they give all of us opportunity to be able to look at issues from another perspective, and you can put in your dissenting opinion, whatever it is, without you necessarily having to insult someone or come after someone. So please feel free to do that. If anyone is doing that in a way that it's insulting, on a way that it's attacking, I will mute that person and then we'll just move on. Also to say to every one of us that we are going to time this. Normally we give 2 hours, but I see a lot of hands out here. So please go straight to your comment, go straight to your point, and you will have 60 seconds to be able to do that. Let me just quickly put on the timer and be able to have that 60 seconds for one. As soon as the timer goes off, one will be muted. So at this moment, we will take in about 5 questions. We just take them together, and then we'll go over to our guest today to answer those questions. In the meantime, for those who are on YouTube, thank you so much. Please go ahead and kindly share and also like the button so that other people will be able to get to see that this is going on and join this program right now. It's so educative that every one of us, there will be one or two things that we'll be able to learn from that. Mama Hecho, go ahead and unmute yourself. Also, try put on your video. I'm trying to see where's the video now to make you. Yes, you're unmuted. Can you put on your video, please?
It says cannot. I guess you stopped me.
Yeah, just hold on a little bit. So because I want you to, okay, go ahead. Go ahead now and start your. Yeah, fantastic.
Hey!
So before you go on, just hold on a little bit. I will be spotlighting you, but just to also say that you're going to have a minute. So you quickly put your comments or your this thing together in that 1 minute, because we have quite a number of hands that are coming up. Go ahead. Well done, sis.
Okonkwo, why is your wife living in bondage?
Well, my heart just skipped because I thought she had appeared again.
Oh, it's a great pleasure to meet with you. I thank you for learning law before this casala boss. Because if we don't have people like you that have learned law, there will be no definition of law. We have a great thing to do together in preparation for 2027. My name is known as Hannah Obukoho, alias Mama Hecho, on the internet space. In line with what is going on, I know you guys are going to give us our mandate back. I will be saying, you and Mama Aisha, I'm looking forward to see you in the House of Senate come 2027. Because with your knowledge of law, we need people like you there to help us to correct the impunity and the nonsense that is going on. So be ready to contest. Now, what I want to tell you, Peter, Mama Aisha, they go for governor of Edo State, whether she like it or not. You are going to House of Senate.
Thank you, Mama Hecho.
We watch you now.
You don't talk well. Thank you so much. I had to. So the 1 minute is up. So you've heard that one, and I totally agree with her. Barrister, we need you in the Senate. So we'll work towards that in 2027. And just to add to what she has just said before I go to the next person, who is Salisu Ahmed, is the fact that how do I put it now? The legislative arm of government, it's a bedrock of democracy, and most times we do not focus on it as citizens of this nation. We are just carried away. We are doing other things, and so we need to have people in the legislative arm of government that do understand what governance is all about, that are patriotic, and we do everything they can to be there. The legislative arm of government, for those of you who are regular here, you've heard me mention that a lot. They make laws, they have oversight function, they hold executive accountable. They ratify treaties and all of that, and they even confirm appointments. Most of the people that we have as rec at INEC, the resident electoral commissioner, I think that's the full meaning of that acronym rec. Some of them have been found to be partisan. Some of them were once card-carrying members, and guess who? Is the National Assembly that confirms them. Without they confirming, the president, the executive will not be able to do a lot of the things they do. So we need a lot of people getting into that legislative arm of government. And if we really want to change Nigeria, we have to focus on the legislative arm of government. Little by little, begin to change it. There are a lot of by-elections that go on. A lot of, whether House of Assembly, House of Representatives, Senate, they all come up. Can we all begin to work together? Anywhere these by-elections are coming up, we will go there, ensure that people with competence, character, capacity, and are patriotic about Nigeria get into office. You heard what Mr. Barrister Okonkwo said earlier, in the fact that yes, if the law had said that before anyone is sworn in, all electoral petition, every issue must be done with, then May 29th, swearing someone in will be subverting the will of the people. But because the law is silent on that, it doesn't prohibit that, so it's okay. So we need people that will go in and make laws that are for Nigeria. So that's an assignment that has been given to you, Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo. So Salisu Ahmed, go ahead, please, and unmute yourself. Remember also that you have 1 minute, and immediately your 1 minute is done, I will put you on mute. So please forget the greetings, forget anything, just go straight to the point, because there are quite a number of people who do really want to speak. So go ahead, Salisu Ahmed.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you start your video, please?
Please, it is time for Maghrib prayer. I will join you guys after I have observed my Maghrib prayer.
Okay, then. Noted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. For those of you who do not get it, Maghrib prayers, that's the fourth prayer of the day, usually at 7 p.m. So in Nigeria, they would be observing that. And so he's going off for that. Joe Williams, I think you will come on now. So Joe Williams, go ahead and unmute yourself. And also start your video, please. Fantastic.
Yeah, good evening, Aisha.
Good evening.
And good evening, my brother Kenneth.
Good evening, sir.
Don't call me sir. Please, I just heard today that the Labour Party said they need 7 weeks to present their witnesses and everything. Does it mean can they start from, because I heard that the issue of double nomination, Shitima had, it's a problem. And also the 25% in Abuja. Does it mean we can't, or you people can't start from there? At least so as to stop this man from being inaugurated? Must we have to wait for the 7 weeks that the Labour Party asked for? Because we are all worried and rattled. And this is what we don't want. Nobody wants this. And it's about to happen. Even I heard today that they said the mobile phones won't be allowed from Monday. How come all this? Please, just let us try to give us something. If we need to hope on something. We need to have something to encourage us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much on that. We'll quickly go to the next person. Let me see who the next person is. Paul. So go ahead and unmute yourself, please, Paul.
Good evening. My name is Paul. I just want to ask a question. We know that these people will be sworn in on the 29th of May. And we know the way the Nigerian situation is. What they are waiting for is that after swearing in, they are going to scatter everything. They are going to destabilize our party, as they are already doing more now. So what are the plans in place? Because many of those that will go to the Senate and other House of Assembly, many of them will be either cajoled to join them, or even incentivized or set up, because they're going to scatter everything, do everything, because they are not in the...
So give us the question. Your time is almost up. You say what are in place? In place for what? Give us that question.
That is the question. The question is, by May 29, if following up...
But you have 6 seconds. If you explain, it's going to be over and I have to cut you off.
So what are we going to do when they start after May 29? Because everybody is broken.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. So please, just to add a bit, please, just for whoever is speaking, try and get the question done. Let's have the question, and then you can explain why you are asking that question or where you are coming from. Otherwise, while you're doing the explaining, we don't get to hear the question. And you can see our guest in the house is writing these things down and putting the questions down. Winston, please, can you go ahead and unmute yourself? Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Please, my question is, I'm actually worried about INEC refuse to release their this thing to Labour Party. What do they call it? The electoral material they called to order them to give to Labour Party. According to Labour Party, they have not gotten up to 70% of it. And my question is actually, what is Labour Party doing since INEC refused to release it to them? And peradventure INEC actually refused to release it to them. The little one they have, is it enough to prove in court that they actually won the election? Because everybody know that Labour Party won that election.
Okay, thank you so much, Wisdom. Barrister, would you want me to take one or two more, or will you answer these ones now?
You can take one more.
Okay. Okay, so let me look at the list. Who is the next person? Did I take Prince Will now? Let me lower the hands. If you've spoken, please just lower your hand so that I'm not. I think Prince Will. I'm confused now. Prince Lee, did I take you? Okay, you said no. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Prince Will.
Okay, I'm asking how are we going to stop the inauguration on that 29th of this month? Because the laws categorically said that they are going to finish everything before the swearing in. But now we are still having pending issues in court, and they're talking about swearing in. What is the way forward about that 29th of this month?
Thank you so much, Prince Will. And I love the way you put forth your question. You put the question before you started explaining, and you still explain, and there's still time. But I think you came a bit late because our guests in the house actually touched on that. But anyway, over to him. He will do justice for that. And for every one of us, please carry your pen, your pencil, your constitution, your electoral act. If you have them somewhere, bring them all together. I think today we are in for a learning session. So it's not only a guest today, he's also our lecturer today. And the floor is yours. Our teacher today. Well done.
First of all, I want to accuse Aisha of partiality.
Okay.
Because the first person that talked said she was going to contest for the governorship and said, I am going to contest government in Enugu. And then she did not talk on her own. And now she now talks, she talked on my own and said she's coming to support me. Me, I am he called you first. I'm supporting you first. So, that's why the law says you shouldn't be a judge in your own cause. You see the way she was partial? They moved her own case. Okay. That's by the way.
Yeah.
Now, Joe Williams said the LP demanded for 7 weeks. Then why can't they go into the issues one after the other? So ordinarily, you don't do like that in law. There would not have been anything bad about that. But I'm going to be as simple as possible to explain this to you. It is not every law that is breached that will end in giving you all you have asked for. Let me give you an example. The issue of 25% in the Federal Capital Territory. If the law, assuming finally is interpreted to say you must get 25% before you are declared a winner. Now, anybody that did not get 25%, it doesn't mean the person is disqualified. It means there will be a runoff. So if you take that one alone now and say you want to do that, court determine this one. If the court say there will be a runoff, between who and who? So you would have to determine all other things. So that if the court makes a decision on something based on the breach of one law, then the court will check all the other evidence to determine now which people are qualified for the runoff. Now, assuming you go to the issue of disqualification, you say you want to take it alone. Assuming the court say, yes, Tinubu and Shetima, they are disqualified. Their votes are wasted votes. Then who will the court declare winner? The court will still need to look into the evidence to know who are the people that they will declare winner amongst the remaining people. So the court will now sit down and say, instead of taking it one, they will look at the whole evidence together. So that if we say Tinubu Shetima, they are not qualified, take them out, then who scored the majority votes? Who scored the highest votes? Did the person meet the requirement of 25% in 24 states and the FCT, meaning 25, but I always call it 24 plus 1 because we believe that the FCT is compulsory. So the court will now determine this thing among the remaining candidates. So it is looking into the other evidence. If Peter Obi is saying I scored more than Atiku, they rigged me here, the court will now check and say if it is true, they will add it to him. And if his own is more, that is when they will now declare him president. So there is no way you can single out one, because the consequences of the breach is different. You must look at all of them in totality. When you are proving the case of the presidential election, is a Herculean task because you're supposed to present evidence in every place that you're saying that there was manipulation. You have 176,000 and more polling units. You have to go through all these things and you have to single out all the places that you believe that they stole your election. You have to do all the mathematics. You have to get the witnesses that will help you to prove all these things, including expert witnesses. Because we went into ICT, BVAS, National Electronic Register of Election Results, back-end server. I just told Aisha, my sister, that you're improving, in ICT. Then you can imagine when people are looking at 176,000 polling units. So it's a very Herculean task, which I don't wish my greatest enemy. And that is why we must talk about free and fair election. So when you say 7 weeks, just look at it. Talk about 50 witnesses. 50 witnesses, when you come to court, you will lead your own witness, evidence in chief, which might take up to 30 minutes. Then the other people will cross-examine. Then the other people will re-examine. And you have about 4 respondents. Each person will cross-examine. And you will re-examine 4 different respondents. So before you know it, one witness is taking almost 2 hours. So these things are not straightforward as you think. They are not easy as you think. We are the ones who do not want to waste time. That is why we are saying 7 weeks. We could, if we do it in less than 7 weeks, fine. We'll close our case. And the other people will bring in their own case. But we do not want to say 1 week, 2 weeks. And by then, we need more time. So this is what is involved. I hope I've been able to answer the question of Joe Williams. Now, Paul, you also talked about mobile phones not allowed. It's embarrassing because we're talking about live streaming of the election. And like I said, if you read your constitution very well, section 36, subsection 3, made it mandatory that our courts should be sitting in the public. What we have in Nigeria is courts, not cults. What we have is C-O-U-R-T, not C-U-L-T. It is only cults that sit in secrecy. And cult is even abolished in our constitution as illegal. If you're a member of a cult group or secret society, you're not qualified to be a politician. So when they start running our cults as cults, we have problems. And that's why most things are shredded in secrecy, lack of transparency. We need to live stream. What is anybody hiding? They say our court should sit in public. Section 36, subsection 3. You have your constitution, check it. So it's actually a denial of rights to Nigerian people, that they will not sit in their houses and watch the proceeding. You see, this government has been denying us everything. They say they're going to transmit our results in real time, the same day, from the polling units, and everybody will know what is going on. Why would they deny us again the live streaming the same day from the court to the viewing pleasure of Nigerian people, so that they will follow up? If they will not do that, then let them throw the court open to 200 million Nigerians to come and listen to it live. And they must provide accommodation that they will be seeing the judges live. Oh, yes. So I agree with you. There is a need for live streaming. That is the application we made, which we were embarrassed that INEC is actually one of the people opposing it. Very embarrassing. So that is about when they now say mobile phones will not be allowed. That one is another embarrassing decision. Why am I saying it? We have been fighting that the judges should stop writing on longhand so that technology will come in. So they'll be using technology, record, then so that they won't be writing. It will be recorded, video, and all those things. They will just go home, watch through the proceedings, and take their decision. And now they want us to join them in longhand. One thing about Nigeria is that instead of going forward, they are going backward, just to make sure that the right thing is not done. So I agree with you. We need to live stream. They will need to allow mobile phones to be in the courts. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. Now, Mr. Paul was talking about they will scatter our party. Well, what are we going to do after May 29? You know, why Nigeria has not become good is because of complacency of the opposition. It's not because of the violence of the bad people. It's because of the silence of the good ones. If opposition sell out to the ruling party and they are not providing good opposition, both of them are guilty. Both of them are corrupt. That is the issue. So what we are going to do is they will attempt. Yes. We should resist as we're doing now. Well, they just took light. So I'm asking for a stand down for about 5 minutes because they just took the light now so that they can put on the gen.
No, they wanted to remind you that that the good governance, accountability, and transparency that you're fighting for, it's very legitimate, and that and for you to keep doing what you're doing. So this is what happens. This is what in a lot of countries, it's something that it's not seen as normal, but it has been normalized in our country. As in, when you're doing something, light goes off, nobody is moved. It's the normal thing. We are our own government. He's also his minister of minister of power, because he has to provide power in his house and all of that. These are things that, you know, they are abnormal, but unfortunately we have been conditioned to accept these things as normality. And these are the things that we'll continue to stand for, continue to fight against, and ensure that we have a country that works for every one of us. It's really been an interesting conversation, as we all have been saying it out here. And I see for those of you that have your videos on, I can see the reaction that are coming in from there. A court case is not something that, oh, you just just do it. It's not emotional. Court cases are all based on evidence before the court. And one of the things that we must never do, and anyone who wants to win a case do, is to jeopardize your own case. Just go to court just to start with something. What if that something doesn't go through? So getting those evidence that needs to be done. And I think there is a question here that we get our guests in the house to answer on the why is INEC still delaying? What has INEC done? So you have all of these other cases there. In terms of the like the Abuja 25%, that is based on interpretation of the court, and you do not want a situation whereby the courts, you do not want a situation whereby the courts will rule, we have its own interpretation and say that this is it, because if it's done, it's done. And these are the things that we must understand, that look, if you go into this case and you don't have a tight case there, you don't have all your evidence before the court, if at the end of the day any ruling is done, what normally would happen is that look, it's done, and that's it. You can't come back and guess, oh, I've gotten this thing that I want to put in out there. So it's very important for us to just understand, yes, I feel the anger, yes, I feel the passion, yes, I feel how people are all hyped up about this, but one of the things we must also constantly remember is that this is based on cold hard evidence, nothing else. It doesn't require any other thing. It doesn't require our emotions and all of that. It doesn't require us getting angry. It just requires us sitting down, strategizing, calculating, putting everything out there. Don't allow your emotions get over you. Don't allow that, the passion and everything to go on. Is to take this thing one after the other and overwhelm the court with the evidence that the court will have no reason not to do the needful. And I love the way the court, the law team, the legal team have been going on about it, just ensuring that there is nothing on which technicalities will be based. And one of the things we know is that of all the candidates right now that are out there, one of them that has been very successful in the courts and have the expertise from the part of a beneficiary is actually Mr. Peter Obi himself and his legal team. They are putting in everything, ticking all the dots, checking all the places that the boxes that need to be checked, and those things are very important. Let me go on to see our co-host. Is our co-host back now? Are you ready? Okay, fantastic.
I'm back. You see.
Okay, welcome back.
Thank
Minister
you.
Of power. You don't go take care of the power. That's because everyone you are Minister of Power. You have to be Minister of Health. You have to be Minister of Sports and Work. Because even in the estates we live in, you're always having to contribute money for roads to be done, for this to be done. I mean, it's just so crazy. All of these things. But anyway, we get that Nigeria that works for everyone. Welcome.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Why would we not resist? What are you gaining from the government that is not giving you power, not giving you water, not giving? As a matter of fact, every house is almost becoming independent. So we must come out as one in this our quest and journey for a new Nigeria. Having said that, sorry for the breakup in transmission. Maybe before I leave here, I will not be able to count the title I'm going to take. So the latest one, Minister of Power. To God be the glory. So, so Paul, you were talking about how they have a plan to scatter our party. No, they did not even wait until after May 29. They have already started. Are you not seeing some court judgments which even elementary school lawyer cannot give? A court will sit down and tell you that the whole candidates of Labour Party, that all their votes are wasted votes. A court in Kanu, and he is delivering the judgment based on Section 77 of the Electoral Act. Shamefully too, because Section 77 only told you about membership register, how every party should have register, and how they must submit it to INEC 30 days to the time. And the reason they brought up that issue is so that any party that wants to do direct primary, INEC, that is supposed to be a commission inspecting it.
Would you want me to read the section 77?
Can somebody read it?
Yeah, I can go ahead and read it.
You can go straight to subsection 3. But okay, if you like, you can read the whole 77 so that Electoral Act, not Constitution.
No, yeah, Electoral Act.
Go ahead.
Okay. So here, section 77 of the Electoral Act 2022 says, 1, a political party registered under this act shall be a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal, and may sue and be sued in its corporate name. And then we have 2, subsection 2 says, every registered political party shall maintain a register of its members in both hard and soft copy. And then we have subsection 3 of section 77 of the Electoral Act 2022 says, each political party shall make such register available to the commission not later than 30 days before the date fixed for the party primaries, congress, or convention. Thank you.
That's all. Did you see anywhere they say any party that did not present that there will be punishment on them?
No, there was none. It was silent.
Good. So there is no, the bench, the judiciary has no power whatsoever to make any law. Even if you commit a crime and there is no provision for punishment, that crime is unenforceable. Go and check every charge. You must see the punishment section. If it is not in that charge is defective and thrown away. Now, a judge sat down, not an election tribunal, and is issuing orders affecting candidates that we are not made parties to the suit. A judge sat down and said, by the provision of this thing you have just read, that Labour Party did not submit the register 30 days to the time, which was a lie. A lie. But because we did not have representation, this case started 11th of May. 11th. And within 1 week, 2 weeks, they are giving judgment. How were we represented? How were all the candidates represented? In Kanu, let me tell you what will shock you. We already know that such judgment was coming because the people, those politicians of fortune, the traders in politics that took the case there, they were already boasting that was going to be the judgment. Now, this judge is not election tribunal. Like we have gone to election tribunal because we are a party that say we will uphold the rule of law no matter what. We could have as well gone to a court to get an ex parte motion, an ex parte order to stop them from swearing in this man. Because that is what they did in the Federal High Court of Abuja. When some group of people who are not even from the ward of the national chairman purportedly suspended, they came to High Court here bringing allegations. Allegations are like gossip until it is proved against the national chairman, and the court issued an order that he should stop functioning, which would have been exactly the same thing that if somebody went to court and brought allegations against Tinubu, which even has been proved in the United States that is a drug baron, he committed perjury and this, and bring it to a court and say, you can't swear this man in, you have to restrain it. That's exactly the same thing that happened. I wonder why Labour Party and PDP have not done the same. If APC say that is correct, that if a court will restrain you or make criminal allegation, no court has found you guilty, then the person they have found guilty, the court should restrain the person from being sworn in. So you can see when they are introducing impunity, they don't know that they are hanging themselves. It's not supposed to be the law, but just for you to know as they are targeting labor, they are exposing themselves. Because I have made up my mind, I will be honest. I will tell you the position of the law. They can go to to use a statute. In election matters, anything that happened in primary is called pre-election. You must bring it to court 14 days after the primary by section 285 of the Constitution. So in the main election, that is when you take to tribunal. The pre-election, you can take to courts. The main election, you will take to tribunal. And you must do it within 21 days. So this court now that starts, that say all our candidates wasted votes. You have just seen the section, that section alone, without hearing from the other party, without hearing from any of the candidates, without serving them. And it is not an election matter, because you don't have any locus again to bring any case against anybody who has been given certificate of return if you did not do it 14 days after the primary or 21 days after the main election. So you can see Jankara judgment. So the attack has already started. It did not wait. They've already purchased some people. Can't you see them going about claiming what they are not? Political impostors, clowns. They say they are leadership of the party. And they will lie that court said, and those people lying that court said are not even a party to the suit. So it has already started. The only thing that will save us is resistance, eternal vigilance, coming out to say no. If not that we came out to say no, to resist, do you think they would have given us any state? They did not intend to allocate any state to LP at all. They purposely made us to have third, so that they would think if we have third, we'll be saying, no, since we didn't have second. Why is it that it is us that they say we have third, that they are buffeting from everywhere? Why?
Yeah.
So the attack has already started. Why can they allow us to pursue our case? We did not go for violence. Yet, they are using every means illegal against us. So we must continue to resist. We must continue to be vigilant. We must continue not to allow ourselves to be sold to them, because they are willing to buy. They have all the stolen money with them. Can you imagine in Abia State? We won. Can you imagine in Enugu State? We won. They took the whole results to Abuja. What has Abuja to do with what is happening in the state? And when they came to Abuja, they now made a decision. If we don't give these people even one state, there will be trouble. They now say, let's leave Abia for them, but let us take Enugu State. The Abia, you can see, even the woman, the wreck, say, my conscience as a mother and as a pastor will not allow me to declare what I know is fake and wrong. The man in Enugu State, he said, I am compelled by the authority in Abuja to announce this result. I don't know what is in it. When my sister Aisha was saying that exactly what happened in Adamawa is what happened, it is exactly the same thing. The only thing is that the Adamawa people resisted, because you have the right to arrest anybody who is committing crime in your face. They resisted and they wanted to arrest the man, which is what the right thing they should do. But look at in Enugu State, they compelled the man. People in Abuja that were not part of the people that voted brought a result, saw overvoting. Instead of cancelling it, they reduced it to the level that will just guarantee that PDP, whose candidate is a forger of certificates, the DG of NYSC came out to say, this man, you forged this certificate. It's not from us. And they went to the same court for a court to give an interim injunction that they should not use certificates as evidence. You see, impunity. That is why we are saying this old order of impunity, illegality, corruption, and criminality must go. They must go. And if we do not send them away, they will send Nigeria away from this earth. No nation can succeed with criminality, with corruption, with illegality, with impunity, with absolute secrecy. It becomes a cult society. So what I'm saying is that you're right. You're saying waiting till May 29. No, the attack has already started from land, from sea, from air, from beneath the earth. And as they're attacking, God is going to neutralize them in Jesus' name. Inshallah. So,
Amen.
coming to
that. Okay, you have more questions you haven't covered?
Yes, wisdom.
Okay, then fine. Yes.
Wisdom said he's worried about INEC refusing to give LP evidence. Can we prove our election? My dear, we are more worried than you. An INEC that was able to announce a result they didn't have. Because if you had the result you announced, it's easy to give now. Because announcing a result means that you have it. You don't give what you don't have. How can you announce a result and you're not able to give it? More than going to 2 weeks. We went to court. Court said, give them result now. They need it. You said you announced. Yet they couldn't. They had to blackmail the court that if we do not reconfigure the beavers, we won't be able to conduct governorship election. And the court is like, let it not be that it is us that is stopping these people from conducting election. And court gave them the order. And yet, they postponed the governorship election. You see how they blackmailed? If they had postponed the election, court wouldn't have given them the order. But they went to court and told the court, you see, this election is almost in 3 days' time, 5 days' time. If we don't reconfigure the beavers, in a result you said you have announced. Meanwhile, the position of the law is that before you even collate, you already have this result in the electronic register. It's called National Electronic Register of Election Result. My sister Aisha, please, can you read for me, if you have the act? Section 62, subsections 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Good. So in section 60, it's about counting and announcing in the polling unit and transferring. Section 62 is about it has to be in an electronic register. And the CTC, you will have to give to everybody. Then it is when you are coming to section 65 that you begin to talk about collation and declaring a winner.
Okay.
So if you can read, go ahead.
So you want me to read from 1 to 3?
It is, yes, it has 3 subsections.
Yes. Okay.
You can read.
Section 62 of the Electoral Act 2022 is talking about post-election procedure and collation of election results. Subsection 1 says, after the recording and announcement of the results, the presiding officer shall deliver same along with election materials under security and accompanied by the candidates or their polling agents where available to such person as may be prescribed by the commission. That's subsection 1. Subsection 2 says, the commission shall compile, maintain, and update on a continuous basis a register of election results to be known as the National Electronic Register of Election Results, which shall be a distinct database or repository of polling units by polling unit results, including collated election results of each election conducted by the Commission in the Federation. And the register of election results shall be kept in electronic format by the Commission at its national headquarters. Subsection 3 says, any person or political party may obtain from the Commission On payment of such fees as may be determined by the Commission, a certified true copy of any election result kept in the National Electronic Register of Election Results for the state, local government, area council, registration area, or electoral ward or polling unit, as the case may be, and the certified true copy may be in printed or electronic format. That's it.
Look at, that's the law. It is not, I did not read it from my Electoral Act. So there's no forge here. Good. So before INEC should talk about declaring a winner, INEC would have had that. Every Nigerian who wished to have it would have had that. But you see, it was not there. You know why? The election they declared is not the genuine election. Going to almost 2 weeks, they could not give us the cities. Election petition that is now 3 months. 3 months, they're not able to give us the 70%. Go to the beavers, go to their server, go to the IREV, where they said you must upload the scanned hard copy of EC8A. That is the election result. It is there. More than 18,000 polling units are obscured. A lot mutilated. Telling you that the results INEC announced, they wanted to now take the mutilated result inside their system. So it is choking them. The Rivers State has choked them. The whole world, even BBC, has told the whole world that the ruling party did not win in Rivers State. It's mago. Same thing in Benue. Same thing in a lot of states. So we are simply saying, obey the law which you made. Ironically, it was INEC that went to tell the National Assembly, to tell Nigerians, we need this law to be amended so that we can give you free and fair election. And Nigerians fought. Let there be electronic transmission of result. And we got it. When they made the first amendment, no electronic transmission, we told the president, don't sign it. The president did not sign it until they went back, amended it. We told the president, whatever is remaining, please don't mind, sign it. That with this electronic invention, we're going to have free and fair election. Look at what happened. That's why I said it's the most costly, because it is that electronic element that was the most costly. You know, purchasing beavers in 176,000 per units. You know, you have to get people to be trained to man it. Getting the server, getting the IREV portal, getting experts. INEC under Professor Mahmoud took money, and the government gave them all the money they demanded. And then on that day, they boycotted. No result was transmitted from the polling units on that day. Because we all saw the election in Edo, where my sister is from. Obasanjo would have been in his village now, if not for beavers. Beavers has not even, we're not even talking about beavers. INEC invented IREV. They invented it before even the electronic transmission. It was IREV that saved Obasanjo from the ruling party. And Obasanjo won. Why? Before they finish collation, the whole results were already on IREV, the hard copy. Everybody has it, so everybody has calculated it. And the word collation center, when you get there, before you calculate and finish, the law says you must compare it with the one in the electronic register. You cannot collect and announce without having the register by your side, the electronic one, which we have just read. And when you're collating, you'll be checking to know whether it is right. And if it is not right, you use the one in the electronic register. INEC did not have the electronic register at all. And my sister Aisha, you can read for us Electoral Act 65, subsection 4(5). Section 65, subsection 4(5). If you can read it, so that the people will know how the will of the Nigerian people was subverted.
Okay, we are going to, you said section 64, subsection 4(5). So section
64, 65.
Huh?
65.
Okay, 65.
No, 64.
Okay.
64, subsection 4 and...
Okay, fantastic. Section 64 of the Electoral Act 2022 is talking about the endorsement on rejected ballot paper without official mark. And we have subsection 4 says a collation officer or returning officer at an election, sorry, let me read that again. A collation officer or returning officer at an election shall collate and announce the result of an election, subject to his or her verification and confirmation that the A, number of accredited voters stated on the collated results are correct and consistent with the number of accredited voters recorded and transmitted directly from polling units under section 47, subsection 2 of this act. Do you need me to go to 47?
No, it's just telling you that you can go to 47 so that people will know. That,
so because we are here to learn. So under 47, subsection 2 says, to vote, the presiding officer shall use a smart card reader or any other technological device that may be prescribed by the Commission for the accreditation of voters to verify, confirm, or authenticate the particulars of the intending voter in the manner prescribed by the Commission. So that's what 47 is talking about.
Yeah,
so B of subsection 4 says, the votes stated on the collated result are correct and consistent with the votes or results recorded and transmitted directly from polling units under section 60, subsection 4 of this act.
Good.
Then 5. Subsection 5 of section 64 of the Electoral Act 2022 says, subject to subsection 1, a collation officer or returning officer shall use the number of accredited voters recorded and transmitted directly from polling units under section 47, subsection 2 of this act, and the votes or results recorded and transmitted directly from the polling unit under section 60, subsection 4 of this act to collate and announce the result of an election if a collated result at his or a lower level of collation is not correct.
Good. You see what I told you? Good. Now, in order not to waste time, the subsection 6 of that section 64 is telling that if there is dispute, as in the manual and electronic shall supersede. So now, the INEC, as at the time they were collecting and announcing their manually generated, corrupted, misguided, mutilated figures, they did not even have electronic register. They did not even have anyone, beavers. So for you to know why they are having problem giving us the CTC. So everything about the 2023 election, especially presidential election, was a mess by the law. So they did not follow any procedure. It was a sham. Nigerians, we are saying, where is it on IREV? Where is it on this? Remember the popular, there was a technical glitch Which glitch? You had 3 elections: the Senate, the House of Rep, and the President. And then the Senate was going, House of Rep was going, then the President only was not going. And you're saying glitch. If there is glitch, wouldn't it affect all? Beavers did its accreditation very well. Nobody complained. And yet you're saying there's a glitch. No, there was no glitch. What you had was deliberate manipulation of the electoral process in order to declare fake results so that they can illegally and criminally announce their preferred candidate as winner. That's all. So that's the question about the person that said is worried about INEC refusing us. Yes, they are refusing because they want to cover up their illegality and criminality. That's all. Because what are you hiding? The law says you should give. Why are you wasting time? So if they are not giving because they did not do the right thing and they want to cover their tracks. That's all. Then can we prove it in election? That's why we are compelling them to bring. There are many other ways you can get your evidence, but it is more peculiar. Even if you have your evidence, the most straightforward evidence you can have when it has to do with public documents is either the original or certified true copies of the original. So INEC is doing everything, putting stumbling blocks on our way to prove our case. But we are believing God that they will be compelled to bring the results they have. And you know, later on, they started uploading in IREV crooked, very crude, very uncivilized manipulation that has already gone in. That was why they were buying for all those time. Because if it is the result you have announced, with that you have it from the polling units, you will give it. Did they not give people in Edo, in Ondo, in Anambra? They did it in Ekiti. You all saw it. So they are making it difficult for us to prove. So we must continue to put pressure on them, and we must continue to insist they will be transparent. We have made an application to INEC, and we are expecting them to do the needful because we made the announcement in court. Ordinarily, the true position of the Evidence Act is that if there is an information which is in your care and which only you can provide and you refuse to provide it, there is a presumption that when that evidence is brought, it is going to work against you. That is why you're not providing it. So the court will take judicial notice that if they don't provide it, it means that it is because they have done wuru-wuru, which will be against their stand, and that's why they are doing it. Then we'll start doing the legal work that will help us to prove our case. So by the grace of God, we are watching events. I believe that with God's help, we will still prove our case. And you know, it is not only, we're not coming only with their manipulation in the election, which we'll call he did not score the majority of the lawful votes. And then the election is invalid due to non-compliance with the Electoral Act, the rules and guidelines, and the Constitution. It's not only that. We still have he's not qualified at all, and we still have the constitutional provision, the 25%. We still have the criminal activity of drug carrying, which is against Section 137, subsection 1D of the Constitution. If you have done anything that is criminal and a court has found you guilty, you're not supposed to be qualified to contest. If my sister wants, she can read Section 137, 1D of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the whole world to hear it. Then the one of the FCT is Section 134, 2B of the Constitution. It's very clear, stated you must get 25% in FCT. in Abuja. They did not get it, and yet they were declared. Then the issue of double nomination is there, very clear. I think section 35 or 34 of the Electoral Act. You have double nomination, but disqualified. So these are the constitutional provisions. So we still have them, and we have evidence, written evidence on those ones. So if my sister wants to read these sections, she can read. If we can go on, we'll go on. Then Prince Will talked about how are we going to stop the swearing in. Like my sister Aisha said, if you were here before now, you would have known what I said. We are a law-abiding party. The law did not make provision to stop somebody before the court decides otherwise. But there are some people who are in court. You can go to court to seek for interpretation. The court has the jurisdiction to interpret any section. They can say he was wrongly declared. He should not be sworn in. Assuming you go to court to interpret that FCT section, assuming only interpretation. The court, which is not a tribunal, which is not a ordinary court, seeking for interpretation. There is a difference between you're seeking for interpretation of the Constitution and that you're going for election tribunal. The interpretation that they went to do in Kanu, you can see there's no provision for disqualification in that section. But if you go to the provision of 134 2B, then 137 1D, and all those ones, especially 134, which has to do with if you don't have 25%, the court can interpret it. But it will not declare anybody winner. It will not declare anybody loser. You can only say this person should not be sworn in. Why? He was wrongly declared. As in, look at this section. Then they'll begin to do the legal, do you have local standing, this and that, this and that. So the courts would have to decide that. So that's about Prince Will. For now, except the court says otherwise, you cannot stop the swearing in.
Thank you.
That's the position. Thank you.
I think that's the last of those questions that we're supposed to take. You've taken them all. Thank you so much. Before we go, I think Pastor Blessing, thank you so much for staying on so patiently. You will be the next, and you've really been on for a long time. So I think I'm going to give you 2 minutes for your patience in just staying on all this while to listen. But before I go on, I just want to say something. For those of you, I'm sure for those who know me very well, would have known that for a bit when I was reading the act that our guest, my brother Kenneth Okonkwo, had asked me to act, I wasn't really myself. I was a bit thrown because there was something that was on my mind. And I'm always the kind of person that my inside must match what my outside. I don't know, as I get older, my Edo accent is coming out more and more and more. Anyway, I just got out like, what's that? But anyway, that's the kind of person I am. So when my inside is not matching, it's thrown off. I'm not flowing. And so this is it. I'm going to say this right now. And it's really quite heinous, and it's really very unethical. I find it very unwholesome when people try to do things in an underhand manner. For example, this particular program is being streamed on live on YouTube by another channel. And I felt all you needed to do was just ask. Just ask me, Aisha, we want to stream it. Fantastic. It's a beautiful thing because we want as many people to see it, and we want many people to see it and learn from it. It's a learning opportunity. But there's something unethical when you not try to erase everything that someone has done. You erase the fact that this is coming from Zoom, YouTube, everything of our name, and just impose your own name as if you're the one who is doing it. It's really unethical. It's not good. You don't grow that way. And for me, all you needed to do was just to ask. And and you try to erase somebody else's work just because you want to get whatever benefit or whatever it is that comes from there, you impose your name. It's not nice. And for me, I'm the kind of person, I know they keep something in. I've already sent a message to that particular person, but I needed to say it out for me to free my mind and go back and concentrate on the work that I'm doing. Please, 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 whatever we're doing, little things matter. Sometimes we don't get to understand what things, the little things that matter in life, they do matter. What you need to do it doesn't take anything. Just say to the person, hey, we want to stream live what you're doing on our own channel. And when you're doing it, what does it harm you to say that, oh, we are getting this from this channel, we are getting this from the live is from Live with Aisha. You don't erase it and put it in your own thing. How do you want to grow in that way? There's no way. But anyway, that having been said, I said that because I really needed to clear my mind, because me, my own, I get big mouth as a day for inside my belly, and so I carry and come on. But after that, I'm good. So Pastor Blessing, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for staying on. So I'm going to bring you, let me add you to so that you and Ken are going to do the gist. And I think what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to allow you speak and then let our guest, Mr. Ken Okonkwo, answer your question. Then we move on to the to other questions. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Ken, for all the briefing. Thank you so much for all the briefing. I'm speaking from the Virgin Islands. The question I want to ask quickly is, now that Julius Abure has been reinstated legally as the substantive chairman of Labour Party, what are you people doing in Labour Party to remove or replace Apapa as a deputy national chairman, seeing that he had a grounds to launch an attack on you? What are you people doing immediately to replace him? As much as you have exposed him, how much have you done to replace him using the internal mechanism of the Labour Party? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And it shows you're following events. And I always like it when islands are virgin, because, it shows that good people are there a lot. I don't like to go to Snake Island. When I was young, when I heard Snake Island, I think, snakes are everywhere. But I would like to go to Virgin Island because everybody will be a virgin. So, well, thank God that the man has been removed. And we like to follow due process. It is only the National Executive Council that should replace him. And when you want to do this thing the first time, your aim is not to punish somebody or to, let me use the word, victimize. So you give the person opportunity. That's why you start with suspending, to know whether the person will repent. We must all understand that, just like a father that has a child, if the child is misbehaving, even though you'll be scolding the child, but we will still love the child. Honestly, I would have loved myself. You'll be shocked to know that one of those people, I'm not talking about the renegade, the one you talked. I'm not the one you called the name. Honestly, we have never sat down with him one-on-one to talk. This is a man whose only achievement is that he said he led the opening prayer in Asaba Convention. That's the only achievement he can lay his hand. So how can I know such a person? He's a wasted everything. But one of it, person that is younger, I mediated and wanted to do something to make sure that there is peace. But you see, you cannot make peace with people whose only aim is to make money, because that is their article in trade. They are politicians of fortune and convenience. They are looking for money. So even if there is no crisis, they will generate one. Because that is what will make them attractive to the people that are paying them. So there's no amount of peace, except you can give them that bribe of money. So that's what they're looking for. And they will still come back to blackmail you. And you know, we don't give bribe. We don't give shishi. He even said, one of them said it in a national television when I was talking with him, debating with him. He said, Obi did not give them money. If somebody is saying that, then that means that he goes to where he will get money. So there is nothing like trying now to say you want to make peace with them, because the only thing they need is money, and some people are already paying them. So your question is that, what are we doing to replace him? Now that we have known that they are incorrigibly bad, you can't begin to want to distract yourself when you're focusing all your energy on the petition. God has already disgraced them and punished them. All their efforts to truncate our presidential petition, because that was their target. And we said it before to the whole world. And they thought we were trying to say something. But they carried it out. The man they brought to court, according to them, to know whether they can break into the case. The case started on the 8th of May. You didn't see them. On the 10th of May, you didn't see them. On the 17th of May, instead of sneaking into the court and going to sit down, because it's a public place, they came with the aggression. They were the ones who started aggression. It's not as if they came to court and maintained themselves and anybody wanted to embarrass them. They came in and started shouting that they must sit in the seat meant for Labour Party. And when you hear them claiming that they are Labour Party, let me tell you what the Constitution of Labour Party says. In Article 13(3)(a), NWC is made up of 34 members. And by virtue of Article 23, you must have 1/3 of the members of any organ to have a quorum to have a meeting. Haven't you seen that all the people that are parading themselves, that they are doing all this case, they are not more than 4? All the people that go on TV to represent them, how many faces do you see? How can 4 persons be claiming that they are NWC? Is that not impunity and madness? Is that not illegality and corruption? Is that not criminality? Now, they claim they have National Executive Council. The same 4 persons, so the National Executive Council, that it is laughable. So, but what I am saying is, on the day they were doing that so-called National Executive Council in Bauchi, where they paid hotel for them, the whole state secretaries and chairmen, we are doing a meeting in the national headquarters of the Labour Party. So these people are just clowns. They are looking for money. And they have been disgraced in the Court of Appeal. And they will be disgraced anywhere they go to. Can you imagine the old man coming to tell you that court said he's now the leader of the party? Meanwhile, he's not even a party to the suit. He is not a party to the suit at all. So you can see the naked lie. At all. Not a party. Even if you give judgment, he will not get any rights. Because every lawyer knows that a court cannot give an order in favor or against a person who is not a party to the suit. So you will see them telling bare-faced lies. And if a man is telling lies at that age, he may continue to lie forever. So the issue here is, we are going to replace him at the appropriate time. We're just talking about not wanting distraction. He's been suspended. He's not supposed to participate in any activity of the party. That's what is the most important. We sat in court till today. When my sister, when they were calling me, I was on the road rushing to come for this Zoom. We sat in the court, and when we finish in court at times, we go and start doing meeting. The council to have a meeting, to know how to prepare for the next session. So both Saturday, time will come when we'll be sitting even on Sunday. So I understand what you're saying. You'll be replaced at the appropriate time.
Okay, but it needs to be done quickly. There is
no.
There is
what happens is, yes. What happened is that in Labour Party, why the urgency is not much, we have 3 national deputy chairmen. So it's not as if he's the only national deputy chairman. And the law did not say that any of them is the one who will replace the national chairman if he's not there. It is the National Executive Council that decides who will replace the national chairman. So I understand your urgency. Maybe you thought he's the only national deputy chairman. No. By Article 13, 3A II, we have 3.
I have seen that. I have read through it.
Okay.
But that I've seen it. I've read through it. But what I was actually saying is to avoid this public display that the Labour Party should do a wholesome work and root out this weed.
Yes,
root out this weed and make a public pronouncement. I get him, like, bring out a document saying that he is no more a member of their party or something like that. So
okay, let me just come in. Let me come in, Pastor. Thank you so much.
Let me just make this one sentence.
Okay.
My dear, even if you replace him now, it will not stop him from doing what he's doing. Get the point?
Yeah.
What he's doing is his own trade. He must do it to be paid. So what you do is to defeat him. Replacing him.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for coming in. Just for me to also add the fact that, honestly, there's no urgency in Apapa. One of the things we must understand is that when you have a mission, there are many people that are going to bring issues that will distract you. It's a distraction you don't need to put your energy on. We have a case. We have a presidency, a mandate to collect. What is Apapa? He is there for a purpose, so that you will deviate that 100% energy that you're putting on getting your mandate back to begin to fish him out and begin to do all sorts of things. A lot of people have spoken about, oh, why don't you go on, how do you call it now? Suspend him, he's not worth the energy. You've seen how this has translated, how this has gone in the way that it has gone. And also something is that I don't think anyone has the right to drive anybody away from a party, right? Even if you drive, you come and register, everybody can be there. And there are many Apapas. It's just that they've not approached them for them to be able, if you work on this one, they're going to bring another person that is going to do the same thing over and over again, because it's all about, some people do not have their integrity. Some of them can easily be compromised. So I think at this stage, like the way this thing has played out, it's really what it should be. We shouldn't focus so much energy on that. It's not worth the energy. It's not what the energy is being focused on. Let's put that, because they want distraction. Let's put that on ensuring that we are getting our mandate back. I think that will be much more this. Then after getting the mandate back, and then we are now celebrating to prepare and get for swearing in Mr. Peter Obi being sworn in by the grace of God. Then we can now say, hey, what was that issue again? Oh yeah, let's sit down and focus on it. Otherwise, they will achieve their aim, which is to get people energy dissipated on non-issue. Let's not major in the minor. Let's major in the major, as we've continued to do this whole time. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you, Pastor Blessing. And I think I've been told that I've actually been biased, Mr. Ken. There are a lot of people on YouTube whose questions I need to read out. And they're quite a question. Do please, if you are hearing me, are there questions you have from there that can be brought in? I'm trying to go back now and see. So there's Harry Esang who says, what judicial precedents did the Supreme Court use to reinstate Senator Akpabio? So that's something. It's a question that it's in there. Then there's another one. Okay, it's also about Lamidi. No, we can't be focusing on energy on non-issue. Okay, this other one too. Also, you've tried to get it. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and we'll put the questions together from YouTube and bring it. In the meantime, let's have Is it Rose Computer? Rose Computer, please, as we go on later, we have people with real names coming in because we are not sure of this thing. Rose Computer, can you unmute yourself, please? Remember, it's 1 minute. And I'm going to, we use it.
Oh, Aisha, thank you. I will be quick.
Okay, fantastic.
It's me, the guy you met in Virgin. We took picture together in the airport. I don't think you. Let me just quickly.
Okay, well done.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I myself, I'm a lawyer, my learning friend. Excuse me. I myself, I'm a lawyer in London. I thank you for taking this time to speak to us today. My question is just short. It's just two questions that is short. I keep hearing everybody saying, INEC chairman promise, he promised. Please, my learned colleague, does the doctrine of promissory estoppel applies? That's one question. Second, why is Tinubu not in court? Is he above the law? That is the second one. I think let me just leave it. So I don't want to. And second,
because you have 5 seconds. Yeah.
My last question will be: why has there been always jurisdiction issues in every court in Nigeria? That is it. Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you so much, and right on time. And then from there, we will move over to Oluwatosin. Oluwatosin, can you please unmute your mic? If you can put your video on, that will also be good. Otherwise, no problems. Oluwatosin, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much, Aisha, for doing this again. Quite impressive. Well, my question is just centered around the fact that May 29 is around the corner. Now, it's LP fighting. I don't want to sound like someone that has lost hope, but at this time, what is the assurance that this man will not be sworn in? That's one question there. Then, what is the plan B from Labour Party, Obedient Movement, and Nigerians as a whole? Because we cannot allow this to go down in history. So, what do we have in plan? We won't be the first country to swear in a drug barrel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oluwatosin. And then we move on to Dr. Anita. Kindly go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Aisha. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Sorry, I'm in a very dark place. You may not see me if I put on my video.
Go ahead.
What I wanted to ask is that I'll just thank you so much for what you're doing, Barrister Kenneth. Thank you so much. So good to have you. What I want to ask is now INEC, Dr. Anita. Okay, so INEC is not giving LP the required documents and the EC8A forms. It is obvious to every Nigerian that the EC8A forms have been grossly mutilated. So my question is, if INEC now brings out these mutilated forms, if they are forced to bring them out, are they going to be admissible in court because they are already mutilated? Are they going to compare with the agent and the party has? And the other question I want to ask, does Labour Party have all the actual originals in print, soft copy, hard copy? And if INEC brings out the mutilated ones, would they be accepted or cancelled? That's my question.
Okay, we'll move over on the question of whether INEC has all the one. I would say this thing. That question will not be answered. Sorry, Dr. Anita. We're in a public space, and then the lawyers will have their this thing up their sleeves. I'm sorry about that. I'm just using my small tinkling this way I get as the host for this program to say that question. Please stay down on it, Dr. Barrister Okonkwo.
Okay, which question again?
The one on whether Labour Party has all the this thing, all the sheets of all the results
from EC8A.
Yeah, from ECA. Yeah.
So who is teaching you? Who is teaching you? You're not a pocket lawyer. Who is teaching you all this good law?
Now small. That's small they do this thing. Yeah, that's going to be the answer. That's the correct answer. For those that want the answer, we'll just be in court when it's time to do that, and then we'll see that being. Thank you so much.
They want me to reveal our strategy.
Exactly.
So exactly.
Some cannot. I know some of these questions are coming from a good place, but you have to understand there are certain things that you don't put out there. You just wait and get out of this thing. So we have TJ Suni. Please go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm going to take up to, I think I'm going to take like 8 more people, up to Chedozie. That's the last hand here. I will take that. So go ahead, please. You have 1 minute.
All right. I am very, very glad and privileged to be speaking with you guys and to be in this forum. First and foremost, I'm sorry I can't put on I'm in the car, NEPA.
It's okay.
We don't have light, so.
Go ahead.
So Mr. Okonkwo, I really appreciate your enlightenment towards this process and your tenacity, both yourself and Madam Yusuf. What I want to point out right now has to do with our synthesizing the youth going forward. All right. Now, the war we are fighting right now, we still need to also plan ahead on the long run as regards encouraging people, directing young folks, obedience, to know where to register as per Labour Party, because it's a game of numbers, whether we like it or yes. Then secondly, has to do with us forcing the media, because I see the media as a very important.
Your time is up, so quickly round up.
Oh, okay. I see the media as a very important part of this struggle. The effect of investigative journalism is really, really eroded. And I wouldn't know what we are planning to get our own narrative out the right way. Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. And then we go to so just to hold on a bit, I see our guest has just moved off a little bit, and
no, I'm with you.
Okay, you're with us. Okay, then. Hello Chuku. You have the floor. Go ahead and unmute yourself and let's have your question.
Yeah, Aisha, thank you so much. My question to Barrister Okonkwo is, please, there is this issue about in a possible runoff, the first person to be in the runoff is the person with the most popular vote, and then the second person, is it the person with the highest number of state won? Because there was where I saw the second criteria for the second person, but it's not quite clear. So I don't know if you could help me understand the second person that will take place, that will take the position if indeed there is a runoff.
Okay, thank you so much. So the way we are going to go, we are going to move from Ike to Martin to Nurse Blessing to Chedozie, AVC, and Dr. Onayemi for now, and then we'll go back to, if we have, that might be the end, but if we still have time, we might be taking more, but for now, those are the things on ground. So Ike, please kindly go ahead and unmute yourself and quickly give your question in 1 minute. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ike Chuku, and I'm speaking. Okay, sorry, I have just one question or one or two questions. Now, one of my questions is that when we talk about the legislatures, do they have the right to allocate or allocate money to themselves just anyhow with all impunity? Is it constitutional? Because when we say we are following the American system, I don't see it happening in America, where legislatures just allocate money to themselves at any given point in time, even the presidency. Because even during the COVID, I didn't see the presidency allocating money to themselves, but they allocated money to the citizens, not to the government alone. So and we're just seeing them giving themselves some ease money from, just allocating money to themselves with all impunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ike. I think the next person will be Martin.
Hello.
Hello, Nurse Blessing. Can you hear me? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Go ahead. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
My own question is, good evening, Barrister Ken. Good evening, Miss Aisha. Please, my own question is, sorry, I can't see my video because we're enjoying the APC light here. So my question is there any possibility for the Obedience and the Labour Party or these Peter Obi supporters for us to be able to avoid the media? Because most of these media people, like all these Shane Okimbala, I must mention his name, the kind of question they ask, sometimes it's alright to be asking question objectively. They'll be trying to find out some words or some
Hello, Nurse Blessing. So we can't mention his name because he's not here to defend himself. So we can't talk about show you. Well, if he comes here, we can put that out to him. Thank you.
Okay. Let me just go straight to the question. So can we avoid some media houses, because sometimes they'll be looking for a word or a sentence from one of our supporters that they will be using to be castigating or looking for a way to blackmail or paint P2B and obedient movements black. So that's my own major question, because I don't like it when they will be bringing our supporters arguing with them on television stations.
Thank you so much. I think we've gotten that question. So the next person will be Che Dozier. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Aisha. Thank you, Barrister Ken. My question is that's my concern with what is going on in the Labour Party. What Lamidi Apapa is doing. I know it's a court process. And I also know that it might be difficult for you to answer the questions, but the problem is to know that the obedient movement and the good people of Labour Party are a bit concerned about what is going on regarding the court process, regarding the attempt by the Lamidi Papa to kind of mess up the case in court. That is one. That's just a concern. But the main question is the visit of the senators to Abuja and the Labour Party. Again, for me, some people are elated, some people are happy about it, but I'm not quite happy, because all they are saying is that they have the senators. Most of the senators are signatories to whoever puppet they want to put there as the Senate president. We know, of course, that all those are not going to be. But my worry is, do we have control over these our elected senators and House of Representatives? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chedozie. We have ABC. Please go ahead, please. Unmute yourself.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Barrister Ken. I'm sorry, please, I might not be able to use my video.
Go ahead
so I want to ask a question.
What's your name? What's your name?
With respect to the live stream, I'm Mr. Victor. So I want to ask a question. Mine is with respect to the live stream. I'm hearing that the judgment will be passed on Monday. So what I'm trying to do is not just like preempting the judgment of the courts, but I want to know, because going by the updates we've been getting from some of our media outlets, you see that sometimes they pass a wrong information. They pass a wrong information. If not that we have people who are there and they are giving us some live, some of the live updates, you see that some of the media houses, they represent the information or the judgment of the court or the proceedings rather. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know the right word. But some of the caption they give is entirely different from what happened. So what I want to know is this.
Yeah, hurry up. Give
okay,
the
what I want to know. Okay, what I want to know is this. If that will not be allowed, if the live stream will not be allowed, is there a way Labour Party itself can bring its own media outfit to the courts? Or if it's banned, does it mean that every group is banned
I think we've
from
gotten
live streaming?
the where AVC is going to. I think I will have to move on. So we've gotten that this thing. Dr. Onanemi, please go ahead.
I did not get. Is he saying will we bring?
He's saying that can Labour Party now bring their own cameramen and this thing into the court? I mean, if live streaming is not allowed, then how will Labour Party be allowed to now do this thing? So that's the party saying. Dr. Onanemi, please, for those who are coming in, please ask the question. Yes, you can go on and elaborate. So ask the question so that the person knows what the question is. Then you can elaborate for us to understand either where you are coming from or to explain it further. Don't keep doing the explanation without the question itself. It's 1 minute. It's been here. You've been here for over 2 hours now. I'm just seeing that it's after 3. Okay, which is after 9. Is that 9? I'm confused now.
After 8.
After 8 in Nigeria.
Yeah,
We started at
right.
6 p.m. and you came right even before it was 6 p.m. So please, let's just get it quickly done it. Dr. Onanyemi, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
All right. Thank you very much, Aisha. Good evening, Barrister Okonkwo. My question is, do we have a victorious exit plan? Do we have a victorious exit plan? We know that we won the election. We've not gone to court to prove that we won the election. We've gone to court to get our mandate. Even the opposition know that we won the election. And given the fact that this man we're dealing with is quite very, very cunning, is a manipulator with a lot of, a high degree of impunity, how are we going to circumvent that when he gets into office? If he gets sworn in on the 29th, this is going to go to Supreme Court. Then what else?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Onanemi, for that. The next person we have here, we're going to take the next question.
If you're taking all these questions, I
want to take 2 more and stop it. That's it.
Because
some of them, they are the same thing. They are almost the same question. So you don't have to take every one after the other. Those that look similar, lump them together. So, and then the other ones, and just talk 2 more people, and that's it. Dr. Emiolu and Martin, and that's why I say other hands are coming up now, but we've already put a stop to where the hands will be taken. So, Dr. Emi, kindly unmute yourself, and then Martin.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, Barrister Kenneth. I started watching you from when I was in the medical school. I didn't believe I could have the opportunity to talk to you one-on-one. I'm a doctor in Australia. I'm talking to you from Sydney. It's 5:12 a.m. for the love of Nigeria, and I'm going to church tomorrow. Wow. 2 quick questions.
Very lovely.
I've been following, I've been connecting, I've been following this platform, but I haven't been able to talk. Number one is that I noticed they said INEC couldn't give us certified true copies because we haven't paid 1.5 million naira. Ridiculous. I want to know if that is the case, and if I could volunteer to pay, if that is actually an issue. I will transfer the money this month immediately. Number 2, I want to beg Aisha. Haji Aisha, thank you for the good work. I followed all the campaigns, and I'm so proud of you. I want to beg you, please, could you bring, it might look ridiculous, Mr. Lamidi Apapa, trick him to come here. I have about 15 questions. It's one of the ways we could silence him forever. We'll bombard him with questions and bring him to his normal thinking. Trick him to come here, tell him Obedient wants to have a chat with him. He's a member of Labour Party. We want to expose him with certain questions that the media probably are not able to ask him. Those are my two, well, one question and one suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, and also thank you for the love for nation that made you to stay this long when ordinarily you should be resting. You should be resting back over there. And for a lot of Nigerians in diaspora, I do say there are so many of you that you don't really have to care, but you do care, and that's a lot. Thank you. So we go to I'm sure the final question for this round, and probably the last round. That's to be Stephen. If I can't say Stephen, after this, we're not taking any more questions. We go back to our guest to answer, and it to be left for him to whether he wants to take any more questions, which I think we've taken quite a lot. So Stephen, go ahead, please. He has been here for over 2 hours now. Yeah. So Stephen, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much for what you are doing. Barrister Okonkwo, thank you so much for doing us that honor to be here to relate with us. I'm speaking from Budapest in Hungary. So I still it's almost similar to what the last person asked. I wanted to ask because that amount is outrageous. So is it like a trap that INEC is setting for the party? Because I don't think that should be paying for certified true copy, as Aisha read there in the electoral act. I don't know whether it's any fixed amount or it just has to be any arbitrary amount that INEC wants. Then another thing is we learned that Sam, the representative of legal representative of Labour Party, won some. I can't remember his other name, but I think you know him. So he's going out to withdraw petitions, Labour Party petitions, concerning the election. So I don't know whether this has come to your notice and what is the Labour Party doing to checkmate this. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are done with the questions. We come back to our guests to give us answers on this. So the floor is yours, Barrister. Apologies, honestly, apologies. There's so many people with so many hands raised in, and I will say to you, in the time that we've been doing, let me look for my this thing. Let me just add to this. Well, yes. In time that we've been doing this whole thing, I mean, we've had, especially on Zoom, this is the highest number of participants we had. So a lot of people are excited. A lot of people are excited that you are here. And so I just couldn't just stop this. So apologies for taking all those questions again and again and again. Over to you right now. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you. You know, some of these questions I've answered some of them as even in my Twitter handle at I am Kenneth Okonkwo. So some of them that is in my Twitter handle is at real Ken Okonkwo. Then my Instagram handle is at I am Kenneth Okonkwo.
Okay.
So if you have been following me, you discover that I update people from time to time. Even in this presidential election tribunal, I update people even as it happens from the tribunal before they are trying to make using gadgets impossible. This is a right that you ought to have, even in Australia, to watch what is going on in your country from day to day, hour to hour, and second to second. We will get there because this old order must give way. You can imagine people preferring analog to digital. It is outrageous. Preferring longhand to electronic. It's like preferring hoe to tractor. So you can see this want to take us back to Stone Age. May God forbid it. So Henry was talking about what's the precedent in reinstating Senator Akpabio? When you use the word reinstate, you're talking about somebody that was sacked and then reinstated. So I think that word reinstate wouldn't be an appropriate word to portray what you mean. But if I should just assume, I would say maybe you're talking about he contested the presidency and then went back to contest the senatorial seat and then was allowed. You know, the court wanted to make a distinction between being an aspirant and being a candidate. So the court was like, when you are an aspirant, you cannot be deemed to have been nominated by the party. That is why we are talking about issue of double nomination. You know, if you give politicians any mistake in drafting your law,
they will use it.
They will exploit it. And then lawyers will go and start speaking long grammar. If they see that they cannot confuse people enough with English, they will go into Latin. So there was a statement where they used the word candidate. And they are trying to say, as at the time they were contesting for the president, they were not candidates, they were aspirants. And actually, in interpretation section define the difference between aspirant and candidate. And I'm sure the people drafting that thing may have meant candidate or may have meant aspirant. So, but they use the word candidate. So that is where the Ebonyi State Governor, Umahi, and Akpabio, that's where they belong. Now, what they did was they were able to get placeholders in that post they were targeting, so that if they lose, they will run back, and the person that won will voluntarily withdraw. So when they lost in that presidential something, they ran back to the state, and then they intimidated the person that won through some gerrymandering. They say the person withdrew. However, they did it. So that was why the law is finding it difficult to hold their own responsible. But in the Ahmad Lawan's own case, the person say he's not withdrawing. That's the difference. And then the court again. How can the court again now say Ahmed Lawan is the one that won, when we knew that as at the time they were contesting for the presidency, Ahmed Lawan was there, and the person that won the senatorial one said he's not withdrawing. So the other people came on the premise that those people withdrew, and that was how, if the person voluntarily withdraws, then you have to go into another election to get a replacement. So that a new election to get a replacement was where they entered. Was how they broke in. But in the APC own, the other person say, I'm not withdrawing. And the APC still went and submitted his name. Obviously, without conducting any primary. They went and did their wuru. And then what annoyed us was that the man couldn't get justice in Supreme Court. So that's the difference. So I want to believe that was what was in your mind. So he was not reinstated because he was not removed at all. They were contesting for election. So it's not as if he was removed and then reinstated. So that's for Henry. Then the 8th, the lawyer, there was a guy who said he's a lawyer, and he rightly talked about the concept of estoppel. But estoppel works when you have agreed to do something with somebody in contracts. It does not work when it comes to the issue of law. Both of us cannot agree to do something that is illegal, and you say, I must do it, assuming I repent. You say, I must do it, that I'm stopped because I have promised. So when it comes to the issue of law, the statutes, the constitution. You cannot use the doctrine of estoppel to stop somebody. Now, what happened in the INEC case is that they made a promise, and they rightly made the promise, because their promise, they were simply stating the position of the law. Not that they said they were going to dash you this, they were going to do that. And then they went and broke it. So you can't say he's unstopped. What are you unstopping him for? He has already broken the law. What you are simply saying is, let the courts rewrite the injustice that he has done. So you are treating what he did and said with Nigerians, you are treating it as in agreement. No, it was not agreement. He was simply stating the position of the law, which actually he ought to have been arrested and ought to have been prosecuted, because some of the things that were done were criminal. We heard when we read what he would have done when he was collating. If we had read 64 subsection 9, you see where they say anybody that breaches this will go to jail for 3 years. And he breached it. Should have been in jail. You could see where they say you must collate, you must count and announce, you must transfer that day. And the annoying thing is that even the one they wrote for themselves, the rules and guidelines, they were the ones who made beavers compulsory. They were the ones who made that if you don't follow this, the election is void. In clause 38 and clause 48 of the rules and guidelines of INEC for the 2023 election. It's really a shame. So the doctrine of estoppel cannot stop anything or help anything, because it's not a contract, it's not a civil issue. This is a constitutional issue. It is a statutory issue. So you cannot agree to disobey the law or circumvent the law. You cannot, and then when somebody is telling you the position of the law, he's not making an agreement with you. He's stating the position of the law. So you also say that why is Tinubu not in court? It is not compulsory that the party should personally be in court. So our principal, Peter Obi, has been in court from beginning, because if you know him, he's a perfectionist. So whatever he's doing, he attends every of his court case. And that is good, because that's what we call capacity. That's what we call competence. He doesn't want anybody to tell him what is happening. If he were to be the president, that's why he will be present in everything that is being done in Nigeria, because supervision is what has been lacking. People will tell you, Mr. President, this is what we're doing. I know when Buhari went to Benue one time, they told him that the IG, was not even there. He said, I gave IG order to remain in Benue until the issue is solved. I didn't even know he's not there. He said it publicly.
Yeah.
But my principal, Peter Obi, will be there before you. He will be there before you. And he will stay there until the work is done. That's capacity. When he was the governor, he attended all the court cases until they gave him victory. May that spirit help us as he's attending. Let them give us victory again. Inshallah. So, Tinubu is not compelled by law to be present, because he has the right to be represented by his lawyers. So when you come to court, when you are announcing a case, when you announce it, you say parties, who are the parties that are present? Then the ones that are present will stand up, announce themselves, and they will be recorded. The ones that are absent, their lawyer will just say, sorry, my lord, we couldn't come. So it's not compulsory. It is only in criminal proceeding that the defendant, what we used to call the accused, must be present, except he's been tried in absentia. In other words, he's officially known. Maybe he escaped and this and that, and they needed to put it on record that he's a convicted person. So, but you're not compelled in civil case like this one to be present in court. It's only in criminal proceeding that the accused, now called defendant, must be present in court. So why is there jurisdiction issue? There is always jurisdiction issue because we do a lot of forum shopping in our judiciary. People, they are seeking for some judges, they have compromised, they are seeking for courts, they have procured to give them favorable judgment. So they always take the case outside the jurisdiction. If somebody goes to Jigawa to get a judge that he knows will give him the judgment he likes or the judgment he paid for, a case that should have been in Enugu, you'll find it in Jigawa. And you'll hear overnight that the Jigawa court has given judgment. And you look at yourself, Jigawa, as in Jigawa. What has Jigawa to do with this? That is why there is always the issue of jurisdiction. Then you now go to Court of Appeal to determine whether the Jigawa court has jurisdiction. Just like what happened in the Labour Party when a judge assumed jurisdiction that I don't know where he got the power from. Jurisdiction is the power of a court to determine a case. So there are things that must be there before you say a court has jurisdiction. The person presiding must be qualified. So the bench must be qualified. In other words, the judges must be qualified both in the number of them and in their qualification. Then the subject matter is within the jurisdiction. When you want to talk about copyright, for instance, it must be in the Federal High Court. So if you get it to the High Court, they'll say no. The High Court does not have jurisdiction. I mean, State High Court, because the matter, the subject matter, in the State High Court does not have jurisdiction. So the subject matter must be there. Then the bench must be qualified. If you remember in Ojus or Kalu's case, they say the judge has been elevated to the Court of Appeal. So, and the law says it's only a High Court judge that will determine this. At that point that he was elevated, he's no longer qualified to determine the case. So they now say, no, the court does not have jurisdiction. So they're talking about whether the due process of law, which ought to be done, whether it is fulfilled before the case is brought to that court. That is the third thing you must make sure you do before having jurisdiction. So there are other issues that is jurisdictional, whether the claimant has locus standi. In other words, you do not contest for president. Then why are you going to election tribunal to say you're contesting or, the election of the president? They can't even declare you winner, even if they say the person did not win. So you don't have locus standi. There must be an interest you have to protect. So, and many other issues. So if something happened in Enugu, it is the court in Enugu that has jurisdiction to try it. That's what we call territorial jurisdiction. So a lot of things are not done right. So they do it wrongly. And that's why the issue of the jurisdiction always comes. And it's because of forum shopping in terms of courts. So Tosin was talking about the assurance that they will not swear in the person they declare the winner because he's a drug bearer. I agree with you that alone should disqualify him by section 137(1)(d), and we're in court for that. But you have to prove it, because like I told you, if you disqualify him alone, that's not only the reliefs you're looking for. You're looking for instance, to be declared a winner when he's disqualified. So they will look at other evidence to see whether you are qualified to be declared a winner if this man is disqualified. So you can't take it out alone. That's why they are saying you prove everything together, because there are other people contending for it. So it's not good to swear in a drug bearer, but if our law were to be that will determine our case, which it ought to be before swearing in, that's what would have been done. But unfortunately, you have up to 180 days to prove it. And then they are trying to make things, put a lot of stumbling blocks, which God will help us. So the INEC is not giving LP documents. We've talked on that extensively. They ought not to. Ordinarily, mutilated results, if proved that they are mutilated, are not admissible. That's why we are saying, give us the evidence you have. So when they give us, we will choose the vigilated ones and tell the court, you see this, it cannot go. Election has been cancelled in this area. So either way, that's why they are running. That's why they're hiding. So give us what you have. Then we can make our case from there. We'll compare with what we have. If it's not suiting, then we'll go to court and say, you see, this is fake result. This was not what happened in polling unit. In any case, they ought to have transferred it on the polling unit. Why didn't they? So these things are the things that courts will sort out with time. So TJ Sunni was talking about synthesizing the youth going forward. Yes, I said it before that eternal vigilance is the price you pay for democracy. The problem we have is that once they do this, their shenanigans, we give up and we go and start waiting for the next 4 years. No. When you fight corruption, corruption fights back. And it is your consistency that is going to eventually give you the victory. If you thought they would just go away like that without a fight, then you yourself is a virgin. And you should go to Virgin Island to live, not in Nigeria. So I don't know whether there's any politician in Nigeria that is a virgin. And I'm talking about character. That is why we are rooting for Obi. Because he's the man who has proved that he is still a virgin. And they are trying to rape him at all costs. And he's refusing. That's what's causing the problem. So the issue here is that what we are saying is that the youths must remain synthesized. What gave us victory was the organic nature of the struggle. Don't wait to be organized. You are an institution alone. Be doing your own best from the quarter of your room. We did it in the election. I was telling them, the people are with us. The people are for us. You will see it on election day, that we are organic, that every individual is an institution. And we did it. So in consistency of fighting the outcome, we must continue in our organic way. Of course, we always have meetings from time to time. I'm in constant touch with my sister, Aisha, and we continue. This program today is part of the organic nature of our struggle to show the world where we're going. So somebody has just said, if it is money that is the problem, I will pay. That is being organic. There was no meeting. That is why we won. That is the support. So anywhere you are from any part of the world, you're a Nigerian citizen. Your support, your prayers count. You are the heroes of 2023. And I'm so proud and so grateful to you all. But consistency, we have just delivered a blow. One blow at times does not give you a knockout. You will continue to blow, because they are fighting back and they are rooted in the system. We must continue, we must be consistent, and we will take them out legally through the process of law. There's another thing we must learn in this country. Because we have said we are embarking on peaceful means, doesn't mean that you cannot do something that is painful to somebody. Non-violence did not guarantee you will not receive pain. It guarantees you that nobody will use physical force against you. We must have to learn to boycott companies that are anti the people. If a company, for instance, lays itself to do anything against the people should stop buying the product of that company. And the company will die on its own.
Absolutely.
That was what the civil rights people did to transport companies. When that woman was assaulted for refusing to stand up, an old woman, because she's black, And they are telling her to stand up for a little boy because he's white. She refused. And when they assaulted him, they boycotted that transport system. And they were collapsing, going into bankruptcy. And then they now realize that even for their own existence, they need to do the right thing and make amends. So, non-violent struggle does not mean you must find a way to do things that will be painful to your tormentors, but in a non-violent way. That I don't want to eat your food. Is it a crime? You're selling your account, this and that, and you're killing us in one word or the other. Why should anybody who has any company in Lagos, why would the company not be boycotted? If the person came out to be part of the people that say people must not come out to vote unless they are voting a particular way and brutalize people, why would you patronize him in anything he's doing again? You cannot empower the enemies of the country. So read about struggle and you see that they must find a way to get at those people who are doing the wrong thing. Non-violent way. That is part of the struggle. So we must learn to synthesize the youths, because the synergistic effect is what is going to give us victory. The youths are the custodians of the power because of their strength. So when you can galvanize them, you're already sure of victory. The consistency means that we must find a way to punish the people who are outlaws in a non-violent way. So I agree with you. Very important. Well, somebody mentioned the media and he said, avoid the media. No, you cannot avoid the media. I am a trained administrator. If you don't say I am, nobody will say thou art. What you can say is that whoever is going to be interviewed, because you're saying they have a way of bringing a word out of your mouth. That's what they're trained to do. Or why would you allow them to bring out the word that will be detrimental to you? So it's not their fault then. It's your own. No comment is an answer. You go to when I was in management, they taught us that when you are an interviewer, interviewing somebody for a job, don't expose your ignorance. Good. So when you go for an interview, you have to be smart and bring out what you want to bring out, not what they want you to bring out. So you have to be smarter than them. But you need a platform to market your product. You cannot throw away the baby with the bathwater. You can't stop the media. They are constitutionally empowered and you need them. You can only urge them to do the right thing. And like I said before, any of them that is willfully supporting anti-democratic forces and subverting the will of the people, boycott them, not an individual. Boycotting to go for a program, but the whole nation boycotting that media house. So somebody mentioned the name of a presenter, which even in my own opinion, that presenter has been as objective as I know him to be. So in my own opinion, so what you do is, I don't think anybody is perfect. I am not. So maybe that somebody makes one or two mistakes does not mean you will now dub him that is now comprehensively against you. There's no doubt that some media houses are bought by politicians. No doubt about it. Some of them are even owned by the politicians. I know one media house that it is only when somebody is doing live program that the person has the freedom to speak anything the person wants. That's why if I'm going to such media houses, I ask them, is it a live program? If it is not a live program, I won't go. Because when you finish giving them interview, they will edit it. When they finish editing it, you will see your word and you'll be asking people, am I the one who said this? I didn't say this. If you want to say somebody is a thief, and somebody comes and add not to it, using AI to synchronize your voice, it will appear as if you said the person is not a thief. The person is not a drug background. And they will carry it like they did to Wayang. Before you go out to start, no, I didn't say this, so I didn't say that. They would have used to do what they want to do. But if it's a live program, everybody's watching it live. And they will have less power to manipulate. So you have to be smart. Oh, yes. But you cannot boycott media houses because you need them. Assuming in this labor issue, when some people are claiming there's a faction, you allow them only to be talking, to be going to the media house. It will be their narrative that will be there. So there's no way you can avoid the media. If you call them evil, then add necessary as the adjective to qualify them and say they are necessary evil. So when an evil is necessary, what do? You try to remove the evil content so that they will just be necessary. So we talked about Elo Chukwu talked about runoff, as in what is the criteria? Yes, the criteria is that because the condition when there are multiple candidates to declare somebody a winner, that he must have the highest number of votes and 25% in 2/3 of the states and the FCT. In section 134, 1, subsection 1, subsection 2 of the Constitution. Now, if nobody met up with that, in other words, maybe the person has the highest number of votes but did not meet up with the spread, then there's going to be a runoff. That's why we are contending that since the ruling party did not make 25% in FCT, that nobody ought to have declared them winner. But it's left for court now to determine, because Supreme Court has actually determined about that issue. So let us see how the court will look at it, whether they will distinguish or whether they will apply the law the way it is, because the express position of the constitutional provision is very clear. Some lawyers have their own dissenting view, and you will not expect the lawyers of the other side, the respondents, to agree with you. So it is now the court that will decide. So the runoff is that the next person, if that first person did not fulfill that, the next person is the person that won in the majority of the states, not the person that has the second highest votes. They are trying to combine the power of having highest number of votes and the power of having spread, because in Nigeria, spread is very important to us, so that it will compel you now to carry every ethnic group, every linguistic group, every religious group along. So there's no way the North alone can win presidential election without the South, and vice versa. There's no way Muslims can win presidential election without the Christians. So whether you like it or not, the Muslim ticket and all those things, assuming there's no rigging, can only succeed if some Christians voted, because the spread must be there. If you don't have 25 states in Nigeria, which is obvious, that are Muslim majority states, it means that some Christian states must agree before such will be won. I'm talking about if there's no rigging, because when there is rigging, you will see every state agreeing to what is impossible. So that is about spread. So the second qualified person to go for the runoff is spread they are looking for, not the highest number of votes. Then the first qualified person is the highest number of votes. So the two of them will go for runoff. Like in the petition, as we have proof now that Rivers State, we won there. So because the whole three candidates, frontline candidates, won 12 each. So when we prove now that we won Rivers, maybe Benue, you will see that, and some other states, see that our states will be more. So even if there is runoff, it will now be us. by the grace of God. So assuming, I'm just to explain it very well. It's not been decided. So Chidozie was talking about members are concerned with what's going on in the Labour Party. I've answered it. We are concerned too. And we are dealing with it, and they are fizzling out to the glory of God. Then he talked about the visit of Akpabio and asked whether we have control over our legislature. When somebody wants to come to your house to talk politics and you're a politician, you cannot say no, because we are not enemies. In Igbo land, they will say, if they give you a message to take to the king, you must take the message to the king. But when they tell you to go and carry the king on your head and bring, you will say no. You will not be able to. So Akpabio being allowed to visit us, one, it has established that Labour Party now is in the political mainstream and has to be consulted before even the ruling party can succeed in anything it's done. So we should know that that particular recognition should not be overlooked. So it's a plus. I don't think they have ever done it for Labour Party before now. So it has told you that Labour Party is now a force to be reckoned with in Nigerian politics. And somebody who wants to be Senate president, somebody who wants to be speaker, will go to the office to bow first to our party, to our logo, and to seek for assistance. It shows that we are now partners, not pretenders. We are now contenders in the process. So there's nothing wrong in consulting. He came to consult and we answered him. We did not say, we just say we've not taken a decision. So you can, I don't like using the word, do we have control? Because I don't like controlling anybody in the democracy. I like using the word, are we united? Because the strength of a political party is when you have cohesion, not even your number. Cohesion. If you're divided, you won't be respected. If you're united, you have greater bargaining power. So I think we are united because we have a unifying figure in Peter Obi. But remember, if the monkey is carrying the child at the back, you will not know when it will collect apple. So he cannot swear for the one is carrying at the back, but he can swear for the one is carrying in the stomach. So nobody is carrying any legislator in the stomach. But I know we are united. And I know that all of us who won Labour Party, nobody paid money to Nigerians to win. So they know they have a duty to create a new Nigeria for Nigerians. And we are united towards that. So I don't like I said, saying are we in control of our legislature? But I know we are united. Then one Victor said live streaming, the ruling, yes, it's coming on Monday. Yeah, we're saying if they ban live streaming, they will not allow your own Labour Party to come into stream. As a matter of fact, immediately court starts, they tell all people, everybody to stop recording, whether you're with your camera or with your this. That's how it has been from Monday when it started. Stop recording. Maybe they were seeing some snippets of what was happening in the court, meaning some people may have been recording privately and releasing it. So maybe that's why they want to ban phone and cameras. Because the whole idea before is that the journalists are asked out when the court wants to start. And then everybody is told, don't record with your phone. But they have not been taking away our phones. Maybe they want to enforce it now. So that is the issue about the recording. So it depends on the decision in and about the live streaming. If they say no, then they will not allow you, the Labour Party alone, to come in. And they've not been allowing when the procedure starts, the proceeding starts. But they allow you to use your phone and to record. So that's about it. The Labour Party can bring its own if it's allowed, but it's not allowed. They will not be allowed. Oyayemi was talking about, do you have a victorious exit plan? A victorious exit plan? Sure. But my sister has already banned me. And I thank her for that. Because you people will not blame me that I didn't answer. I could have posted to say, I would have answered it so that she will carry it. So I have the right to withdraw. When I said, are you now a lawyer? How come you're saying that you're right? I'm withdrawing it now. So I'm putting it on her head that she's the one who banned it. So I cannot tell you about our plans because I'm sure some of those, Agbado people must be listening.
They
So
are.
So
But we even had to remove one that was being insulting earlier on, and that's how we even started the conversation. Yeah.
So that's why we cannot reveal our victorious exit. So, but by the grace of God, I know our principal said he won the election. I know he said he has evidence to prove it. So let me, as a spokesperson, stand on that public declaration that he made. Then Eniolu was talking about INEC couldn't give us documents. Yes, but he mentioned one thing. He said, is it because of the 1.5 million? Now, what we are saying about 1.5 million is that it is not a legitimate demand. We are not saying we wouldn't have paid. As a matter of fact, our lead counsel said in court that any amount they ask us, which is legitimate, we are ready to pay once it is official. But that one was not official. Can you imagine one state telling you 1.5 million? Calculate it now, 36 states. Just to get CTC of document. So you see, so we are saying that every legitimate official fee, even the law said there should be a fee. If you recall when my sister was reading the 62.3 of the Electoral Act, the one that said the CTC must be given, you will see that the fee was talked about. So we're simply saying, give us the legitimate fee, give us the official fee, we will pay. But don't come and tell us to pay something just to discourage us from getting our evidence, which is not official. Whether it is bribery and corruption or whether they did it intentionally to discourage us, that is what the court will look at, and they will give us what is the official fee, and we'll pay. We made that commitment. About bringing anybody for questioning, that will depend on the host. She has the right to bring anybody. I know that she has already said it's a distraction, but that is her prerogative. So I believe that question should be meant for her, not me. Then Stephen, based in Hungary, agreed that the amount is outrageous. I agree with him on that because it is not legal, it's not official, it's outrageous. It ought not to have been there in the first place. So, as a matter of fact, our lead counsel threatened in the court that if they move him, he will say things that he wouldn't want to say because of that 1.5. And he made it clear that it's not legitimate. So, Stephen recognized outrageous, and I agree. He even said he shouldn't be paid for, and I agree. So we are asking for the correct price, and we have made our statement that we're ready to pay our commitments to pay. Give us our evidence. And that is what we said we asked for, and we will pay. So, like I said, there is provision for fees. We're simply asking for what is right. So, he also talked about the people that are parading themselves, that they want to withdraw our petition. Yes, they want to destroy our petition. It's unfortunate that somebody who called himself a former legal advisor is part of the syndicate that wants to. As a matter of fact, in court, what happened in the court was that they brought a lawyer who came before to withdraw another case, presidential petition, for a party that wants to withdraw. So they now thought he was an expert in withdrawing. And they went and hired him and briefed him and obviously paid him to come and withdraw our own. So, you will start with coming to announce your appearance. So you would have to be admitted first before you are even allowed to represent the party. So when he came in, he was disgraced. The court was saying, represent who? Since when? A case that's already in court with lawyers already in it, representing their client, and you're barging in, saying you want to represent. Are you not ashamed? Said you are supposed to be a son. You ought to have known better. He collected his books and ran away. And the man that brought him ran away with him. You know what happened to him the 2 days before when he went to make trouble? Don't know why a man at 78 that you may just do and the breeze will carry him. I don't know why he is making trouble. That he's strong enough to fight or what? Professional troublemakers. Let me tell you one thing. Brave men do not like trouble. Brave men do not like to fight. Why? They are the ones that go to the war. And they know that in war, they may die. If they are not dead, they will get wounded. If they are not wounded, some of their friends may die, may be wounded. So those ones that really are brave, that fight wars, they don't like wars. They try to make peace and they go for war only to make peace. I've been a fighter all my life. I hate trouble. I hate wars. Because when war comes out, I'll be in the forefront doing the fight. And I know the consequences. All these men you're seeing, they are cowards. They are looking for money. All these crises are generated, not because they have the strength to fight. If they hear boom, now they'll be the first to run away and hide under their mother's bed or leave the country. Because they don't fight wars. That's why they are instigating all these things to get money. I remember Colin Powell, the great American general, one of the greatest warriors of America, but he's the most reluctant to go to war. He will continue to preach peace, but immediately the war is declared, meaning they have exploited all avenues for peace. Immediately war is declared, he will be the first to go in and the last to go out. Brave men do not like trouble. I don't like trouble. What do you gain from it? So let us learn to live with each other in Nigeria, to love each other, to help each other. Eschew violence, eschew trouble. Continue to be brave in fighting for a new Nigeria. Look at my principal. When he was campaigning, he went to every place, including the place that people were begging him not to go. But look at other ones saying no, even at their age. No, they won't even bring out their manifesto because they're afraid that they will kill them. You see the issue here? As we're moving to a new Nigeria, corruption will not take us to where we want to be. Impunity will not do it. Illegality will not do it. Criminality will not do it. A conscious effort at recruiting leaders of character, competence, and capacity who have the love of Nigeria at heart, who wants to practice equity, justice, and fairness, who have the competence and knowledge in business, in economics, in administration, and have the character, the honesty to run their affairs. This is a blessed country. This is a rich country. What we are lacking is leadership. And let me tell you one secret, and that is why subverting the will of the people is terrible. Our problem is not because of bad governance. It is because we are not given the opportunity to change the bad governance whenever we want to. That is where subverting the will of the people is terrible. Because if the will of the people is respected, once a government becomes bad, they will change the government. But when it's impossible to change bad leaders, then you're stuck with them and they will be getting more powerful. So when we are fighting for free, fair, credible election, we must do it. We must do it with intention, knowing that you must get bad leaders from time to time, even in a democracy. We have seen leaders in advanced countries who even cause insurrection against their country. So democracy has not given you a silver bullet against bad leaders, because some people are deceptive. They can deceive the people. It has not given you an assurance that each time it goes to vote, they will get a bad leader. They will get a good leader. But it has given you an assurance that where you vote for somebody and it's not good, you have the opportunity to vote the person out. In Nigeria today, we don't have the opportunity to vote out the bad leaders. And it's going to destroy our democracy if we do not take a stand. I have taken a stand for a new Nigeria, and I will continue to fight. I will continue to labor until we labor to victory and to glory. And it is very much close. Please keep up the spirit, keep up the fight. Victory is near. It may take a little while more, but at the end, we'll sing a new song. Thank you for listening to me, and God bless you all.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. I don't even have the words to be able to appreciate what you've really done for us today, not only in answering all our questions and even more than we asked for, being very elaborate and putting us all through for everyone to understand what the process is all about, but also for motivating us and encouraging us and giving us the words to keep going and letting us know indeed the reason why we're doing this in the first place and the reason why giving up is not an option. I will read from, I believe it's Dr. Onayemi, who said, "We have not gone to court to show we won the election. We have gone to court to retrieve our mandate." And that's what you have done again to reinforce that message for us all. And that it's not easy. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's something that we all have to be patient about. We all should not allow adrenaline to take the lead in this situation. We should not allow our emotions do that. That we should be strategic and ensure that we are working with the evidence. We are working within the ambits of the law. We're doing everything. Nothing is impossible. Like Nelson Mandela said, it's impossible until it's done. Thank you so much, Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo, for joining us today. You've really been absolutely amazing. And I did drop your Twitter handle on the chat, and quite a number of people have said, oh, they've gone on to follow and also pinned it on YouTube. Please, if you're not already following him, please do that. He has a lot of updates. Most of the questions that you've asked, for those of you still raising your hands, unfortunately, we can't take in any more questions. We've come to the end of this. It's over 3 hours he has been speaking. Normally I do a lot of speaking. You know, when you ask questions, we explain. He has practically been speaking all this while, and he has done so been so gracious with his time. We can't take more of that. This program, Live with Aisha, comes up every Saturday, 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Hopefully next week will join us, and maybe some of your questions might be answered by another guest that will be on. For those who came earlier or who came later, some of these questions, you can go and rewatch the whole this thing again, the live stream, and be able to get some of this answered out there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Nigeria is our country. We are all citizens. We are not slaves. No Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian, and nobody will lord it over us in our own country. So please do not feel that, oh, there's nothing that can't be done. A lot can be done. Remember, they told us we cannot win the election. Did we not win the election? So believe in the legal team. And we have an amazing legal team. And having Kenneth Okonkwo there's something he does psychologically. May you know, say, not be only to talk for social media. He they go enter court also. He go talk for social media, talk for television, talk for either. Appear again, talk for court. In short, I'm sure a lot of us are saying when we grow up, we want to be like Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo. Thank you so much, my brother, for being here. Thank you. And we do not take this for granted. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. And thank you, everybody. God bless you.
Amen. And you too. So to everyone, this is the end for us today. Hopefully we see you again next week, 6 p.m. Nigerian time on Saturday, when we'll have another edition of Live with Aisha. So remain blessed and bye-bye, everyone.
So guys, you can see why we should all come out to, stand for no inauguration. We shouldn't support Bola Ahmed Tinubu's inauguration because we know that, Bola Ahmed Tinubu being sworn in is the end of democracy. This man is not going to allow, the judiciary to do the needful. This man will want to allow himself to take over leadership, in Nigeria, despite the fact that he wasn't the one that really won this election. So guys, honestly, we are going to see how all this play out, and we are just hoping that the judiciary is going to speed up this case. These delay tactics they are using, does it make sense? This go today, come tomorrow. Every day this case is being adjourned. Do you think it makes sense? We can't wait for them to, tell us who won this election. We can't just wait. So guys, you have seen it for yourself. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you.